Good afternoon, everyone. BW Security World is honored to have with us Mr. Vikram Mahurkar, MD of Checkmate Group of Companies and the Vice Chairman of CAPSI. The Checkmate company has ventured into services like cash management, electronic security solutions, FM services, fire and safety training, and audits, which makes Checkmate a leading service provider in the country. Mr. Mahurkar's commitment has enabled Checkmate Group to achieve greater success as a leading multinational security service provider, coupled with exemplary growth in terms of revenue and value proposition. He has also founded the Institute of Fire Safety and Disaster Management Studies in 1998 to provide the highest quality of training in the fields of firefighting, crisis management, rescue, and hazardous materials for Indian as well as global clientele. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for having me over here on your interview, and it's indeed a pleasure to be speaking to everyone and letting the world know about how the industry is moving, and I look forward to have your questions.
So how do you interpret the evolving stages of technology when it comes to private security industry? And how challenging is it to keep yourself abreast to these changes, considering the industry has to consistently upgrade and innovate itself?
Well, the evolving stage of the industry has been since quite some time. And if I recollect way back in 1980s, late 80s, when I started this company, and I think that was true for all the companies, that the technology was being introduced in very many aspects. Today also that trend continues. So I think it is an evolving stage, as you rightly said, but then this has always been there. A very small example is that, earlier we used to depend on the landlines, and then the mobiles came in, and then everybody had a mobile. And now we are going, a step ahead, and we are tracking people and things like that. So it has a positive impact. I think the benefit is going to the customer at the end of the day, and which is a good trend, as when the customer happens to be both from the government and the private sector. The private sector also, the safety and security of people has increased, as the reaction time to counter incidents which may take place or have taken place, or for investigation purposes. Technology has played a very important role. Moving ahead also, I think it will only do good to the industry. There is no reason to fear this trend. And the upgrade, if you don't upgrade, I think the companies are going to be left behind. And as a company, and speaking on behalf of if I may speak on behalf of the industry, I think it has done good to the industry and to the customer, I repeat again.
Okay. Thank you so much for your answer, sir. And sir, to proceed from this question, I would also like to ask, what are the steps which your organization is taking for learning and development of security professionals?
Yes. So as far as my company is concerned, ma'am, we have the majority of the workforce at the branch level is the ex-servicemen. And also they have this unusual knack of they are good instructors, and it's whatever technology has come in also as on date, and which has to be passed on to the field officers and to the supervisors and to the men on the ground. It just requires a little bit of a introduction and continuous hammering, as they say. And I think the response has been very positive by introducing some training sessions, both on classroom sessions and on ground. And it is not a very major challenge. And as I said, the army officers have done a good job about it. And even the people who are adopting to it have always given us a positive feedback. So it is not a hindrance in any way.
Okay. And so how do you balance the digital demands and manual demands when it comes to manpower services?
Yes, ma'am. That is interesting, because the digital demands of the customer are increasing to quite a great level. In the earlier times, I'll say very close earlier times, when I say about 2 years back or 3 years back, the customer, we had to take registers, etc., to our clients for the monthly compliances and, show it to the compliance, or show them the compliances and all. And thereafter, the related payments and the views from the customer used to come regarding the compliances that we have done. Now everything has gone digital. With everything having gone digital, ma'am, the things are moving faster. And again, in this aspect, going digital, I don't think you have to balance with the manual part of it, because once you go digital, you should go 100%. Why should you leave that 10% also behind? And it is not a major challenge, because at least as far as our company is concerned, we deal with multinationals, and we have always been inclined towards our own in-house, well-developed NAV system. So the NAV system allows us to be very flexible with the customers, both in terms of the compliances, in terms of the digital information that we provide to them for various compliances that we have done, be it whether it is related to the GST or PF or the SI. And I think things have moved faster, things have moved better. Yes, some companies are still settling down, and but very shortly there will not be any challenge in this aspect. And the manual part will have to get over. If somebody has not done it, I think he will be left behind.
Okay, sir. So when it comes to manpower industry and these organizations, do you think there is a chance to go 100% digital, or some percentage of the organization have to remain dependent on the manual services?
Digital, ma'am, you can go 100%, but as I said, there are some companies which are adopting to it. So it is not only from my side, that from the principal employer side also, the response has to be equally there. His willingness to go digital has to be there. So today, if Checkmate says, no, I'm ready to submit everything in a digital format, but the client says, no, I would still like to see it, in the manual format, which is there in some states even today. So those sort of hiccups are there, but otherwise I don't think so there is any issue related to that.
Okay.
It will happen.
And so, do you think the management of private security officials should be centralized?
I couldn't get this question, ma'am.
So this industry is considered as a decentralized sector. Where the industry is often said that it is disorganized. So do you think it should come under one umbrella, whether it's government or the private security industry?
Yeah, ma'am. So there is a unorganized sector and there is an organized sector in this industry. Across India, I think there are around 25,000 security companies which have a PASARA license. It is said, and I think it is true also, that the unorganized sector may be twice the size more. The unorganized sector is again, it's not a compliant sector. They work without licenses, etc., etc. There is a different format which they follow altogether. So to get the unorganized sector under the gamut of the organized sector in terms of the licenses and to make it more customer friendly and compliant friendly, I think this is a move which the government will have to push, because for the private sector, it is individual states are making efforts, but then the government needs to push this agenda in terms of getting the unorganized sector also to join in, which will, I think, again benefit the client at the end of the day. Because a lot of companies are there which do work in very different manner and are not compliant as far as the PASARA rules are there. So that is all that I have to say. But yes, the unorganized sector also needs to come under one umbrella.
And so, sir, do you consider your organization as the one-stop solution when it comes to primary security services?
Ma'am, I'll tell you one thing, just to say that yes, I am a one-stop solution really is is going to be quite untrue because the demands of the security industry are very vast. I don't think any company can say that I'm a one-stop shop in this respect. Yes, you can be 80%, you can be 90%, but to be 100% is not true because the demands of the security industry are very vast. They are very, very varied also. Somebody is going to demand in terms of technology. He may say, okay, you provide me a geofencing, or you track my vehicles, etc., and things like all that. But then there are also people today who say, okay, do you have a kennel? Right. So I may be having a kennel. There are people also in Gujarat where I say where the areas are very vast, or in Rajasthan where the client looks for a simple thing, like I'm saying, it will be a joke, but then say, do you have a camel also? Because the terrain is like that. So I don't think anybody can be a one-stop shop. But then yes, Checkmate does cover housekeeping. It covers guarding, and in guarding we have cash management. We have we service the ATMs also, and in guarding we provide electronic solutions also. We have a very good vertical of fire and safety, which is the only one of its kind in Asia, with real fuel, real fire, and but again, all these fields, fire is again another field which is very varied. How LPG reacts, how CNG reacts, how diesel reacts, and how hydrogen reacts is 10 different ways, and the fires are fought differently. So same is the issue in guarding also. I would not say that I'm 100%, but yes, I'm striving to be 100%, and I think I'm 80-85%.
Sir, what makes Checkmate stand out from the rest of the security organizations? Give us one unique element that helps you increase your retention rate when it comes to clients.
Yes, ma'am. So it's a very simple thing. There's no rocket science in this. You know what we have done is that since the day we started our company, we made it very simply clear to all our business development people and the people on ground that whenever you choose a client, your contract with the client should have a very clear understanding. Not only in terms of the SLAs which are concerning the operations, but also in terms of the manpower requirements should be very, very clearly spelled out. And if you are saying that, okay, you are going to pay me 100 rupees, then I'll say, okay, this is what you get in 100 rupees. So that is the kind of descriptive contracts we have. And we choose our clients a bit diligently, or maybe the clients also have realized that if you give them a contract which is very detailed and which is to the point and detailed, I'll say, they also are very happy about it. And in times to come, that relationship in no way can break, because everything is in black and white, and the understanding also on both sides is very clear, which helps you retain a client. That is why we have clients which are there with me right from the day one when we started this company, and we are known to have a good shelf life, as they say, in Checkmate.
That's many congratulations on that, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
So, in your view, what are some of the most critical areas of concern for security agencies, and what can be done to counter them?
Yes, ma'am. So from the last point, I'll go ahead and move that most of the industry, I'll say both in the organized and unorganized sector, is, I'll say they are hungry for business. So when you are hungry for business, you tend to make mistakes. The starting point is very good and you get through, but then ultimately what happens at the end of the day is you start faltering in very many ways, both in terms of compliances, in terms of service delivery, etc., etc. And at the end of the day, I think the government and the PASARA Act very clearly specifies that you need to be compliant and you need to deliver things in time, which is not possible in such a scenario. So I think the industry as such is should be concerned that if they want to run the operations and meet the compliances, then this very important point, and this is the only point. Apart from this, this has a cascading effect then on your PF, on your ESI, and then your GST. Everything else follows. So to make a good start, you must have a good contract. You must have a good understanding of things so that you don't land up in a soup. And this is the concern which is hurting the industry nowadays, because very many people have, sort of in the hunger for business, have forgotten this point, and ultimately the client also has to suffer and the company also has to suffer. So this is my only concern. Otherwise, yes, there are issues related to to the Pasara licenses, which the government issues. But I think the government is addressing them time to time, again and again, and things are looking up. India is a big country, so it will take time. But then, yes, the government has done quite a bit about it. At the same time, the concerns about the PF, which has been disallowed for very many years, for the last 2-3 years now. There are judgments for that, and I hope that every matter that is taken up with the government and by the concerned authorities is rightly understood by the industry. If the industry has a good understanding of the issues, then I don't think the agencies will falter. Otherwise, in times to come, you will find this industry also consolidating, right, like it has happened abroad. So that is a risk which has its advantages and it has its disadvantages also.
Okay, so that was very insightful. So would you also like to comment on cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, and how relevant their role is in this industry? Since we talked about technology, you think agencies and private security industry is leveling up to these standards?
Well, I think cybersecurity is a very vast field again, and it would not be right to say that today, whether it is Checkmate, I cannot talk on behalf of other companies, but I don't see anybody getting into the cybersecurity field around. It's a slightly different field, and it is more IT centric. And yes, it can be related to our area, but then how it is treated and how the learning comes out of it is rather used by different organizations, and we should treat it also separately. Cybersecurity, no, artificial intelligence, yes, may help us. It is still coming up, but artificial intelligence may have some answers for us. But then again, that will be again depending upon the industry also has to sort of come up to the mark where it matures a bit. The industry needs to mature to get into artificial intelligence, etc. So for that, your systems should be in place as to whatever are the requirements of the day. Only then I think we will go into that artificial intelligence. Yes, some companies are moving it. Even we are trying to do something in that aspect. It will have some impact on the industry, but then it will still take some time. It's not going to happen tomorrow or maybe in the next 1 year, 1 year or 2 years.
Okay. And also, sir, because you've opened the IFS DMS, I would like to add one question here. What are your views on the quality of training in the field of firefighting and crisis management?
Yes, ma'am. The institute was inaugurated in 2012 by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. At that time, he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. In fact, the idea of setting up a fire institute came from his end because Gujarat happens to be the hub for the hydrocarbon sector. We have refineries, we have chemical plants, etc., etc. So we had tied up with the University of Nevada, and today, when we moving it quickly, what we see is that the fire and safety is at a very nascent stage in India. We still have to frame laws as to who will have a fireman or what sort of equipment is to be installed, what are the checks and balances for the equipment that is installed, and especially for the training. If the training that we are providing is as per the NCVT standards, and we have approximately, I'll say about 2,900 students have passed out from our institute, and most of them have, I'll say majority of them have got jobs while they were in the campus. They are employed very well nowadays. Their entry level is just about 10th pass, but they are all getting salaries in the range of 30,000, 40,000, and majority of them have gone abroad. Having said that, the industry as such, ma'am, has a long way to go. The fire laws, like I said earlier, were in different states are different. Very recently, the Maharashtra government has come out where even a hotel needs to have a fireman, or a building with more than 10 floors or 14 floors, I think, needs to have a fireman. This is going to open up a lot of opportunities for people in the fire and safety. The interesting part is that after we signed an MOU with the Rashtriya Raksha University in Ahmedabad, which is under the Ministry of Home, we have been, the Rashtriya Raksha University and the Ministry of Home were kind enough to sponsor 52 girls. And ma'am, tomorrow morning is their passing out parade in the Rashtriya Raksha University, and we are hoping that Mrs. Kiran Bedi will be there to witness the passing out. So it is, and all these girls are coming from the tribal areas of Orissa, UP, Bihar, and Madhya Pradesh. So it is this is, I would say, is interesting because 90% of them have already been offered jobs in big steel plants and refineries in Gujarat, and they have done very well. So there is a gender change also. There is a good amount of training also that has gone in, and at the same time, I will say that the industry needs to involve, like any other industry, it is still at a very nascent stage to go up to global standards. So it's a big opportunity.
And lastly, sir, I would like to ask, how do you see the future of private security agencies in the next 5 years?
I think it has a good future. I have always been very optimistic about this industry, and it has a good future. Yes, if you ask me, the industry needs to, like they say, pull up their socks. If you don't, well, the industry will consolidate. And that is a global trend. That is a global trend. So I see a lot of the financial institutions, private equity funds, individual HNIs are all showing interest in this business. Some companies have done very well in the markets also and continue to do so. And I think others may follow. The security agencies or the cash management companies where we are, I think have the growth on an average should be about 20%. But then yes, consolidation is the name of the game, and how far the government pushes the PASARA licenses and the implementation of the MHA RBI Act and the banking sector and the PASARA will also determine the future of the security agencies. But then yes, this industry is there to stay. It's there to play a bigger role. And it is the largest employer today. Today, the security industry has 1 crore plus guards working under CAPSI. So this is another very high benchmark, and I don't think any other organization or any other sector has that kind of numbers. This really reflects the strength of the industry. This reflects the kind of resilience the industry has had in the last so many years, which has given us the strength to grow, and it has a bright future, and it has a bright future for everybody.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I'm sure we all have learned something new about the private security industry today from your very insightful views. And we were privileged to have you with us.
Thank you, Shilpa, and my best wishes to business world. And have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
You too, sir. Thank you so much.